up nicely. It's the Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. Yeah, they clean up nicely. Yeah.
Hi. What's up?
Party people in the building, Douse Punks, Drew Pierce from Long Beach, California here.
And I am Fusemania from Cincinnati, Ohio. And today we have a great guest for you guys. We're excited to chat with our guest today. We're excited to learn a little bit more about him as well. Let's see. What day is it?
Oh, you definitely have a handful, if not a billion, of his edits in your crates. That's for sure.
Definitely.
He's killing it. So we're excited about
downloading a lot of his edits as of recently and been playing them a lot at my gigs too. So excited to chat. I've been slammed today, so I'm like, what day is it? I thought it was Wednesday earlier, but it's Tuesday, and which means that when you're listening to this podcast will be coming out on the day that Drew is playing at Bungalow in Huntington Beach, and we're doing a meetup. So anybody that wants to come hang out, I'm going to be in town in Huntington Beach with Drew while he's playing at Bungalow. Looking forward to hearing Drew's set. The vibe there is very open format. They have a lot of great DJs that are their residents, and now Drew's a part of this. Guys like Excel and Graham Funky and Steve Wonder,
DJ Strip.
Are a lot of the DJs that play at Bungalow. So I'm excited to hang out there and get to hear Drew play there. And also, if you guys are listening, we also have a DMS promo code for you. If you use the promo code Drew and Fuse Show, it gets you 30% off your first month of activation at directmusicservice.com. So once again, that's Drew and Fuse Show, and it gets you 30% off your first month of activation at directmusicservice.com. Also, in the video description in YouTube, there will be an affiliate link for the Photo Booth Supply Company if you're in the market for a photo booth. We highly recommend their Chips and Salsa booth. And if
we
you
have
buy
that great ad, we got to run. We got to run. We got to run. Yeah, we're gonna have to pull it back. We'll throw it in there one of these days.
But if you're in the market for a photo booth, make sure you check out that link. Drew said he'll send you a t-shirt as well if you buy one using that link. I don't know what'll be on the t-shirt. It might just be a picture of Drew's face, but
it's an old Stussy.
It's something. It's actually, maybe it'll be like an old t-shirt out of his closet. It's like used, like his youth football shirt, his youth football belly shirt. So also, we just want to say, if you are in the market for a Club Cannon, make sure you head over to Club Cannon and tell them we sent you. We are big fans of Club Cannons. If you're looking for something to elevate your event or wedding or bar or nightclub, the Club Cannon cryo effects definitely do it. So make sure you head over to Club Cannon and check that out. Also, we highly encourage you guys to leave us a voicemail asking questions, asking whatever you want to know for future guests, telling us future guests you would love to hear. And that voicemail number is 562-246-YOLO. And that's our YOLO line. You can leave us a drunk dial if you want to, whatever you feel like doing. It's yours for the taking.
Yeah. And we are not sponsored by our friends over at Liquid Death.
Yes, once again, not sponsored by Liquid Death. But, we love that you guys keep tagging and drinking the Liquid Death. And maybe one day they'll get their heads out of their butts and realize that we're the one that made them happen. It's not that they're a big company or anything. That they're just mooching off of us at this point. It's kind of sad.
I'm guessing they have way bigger people, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Are you drinking that mango chainsaw?
Mango chainsaw is so good, man. I love it. Good with margaritas.
Liquid Death, so good once it hits your lips. Have you made a margarita with it? Hold on.
I brought a margarita. You know I have. Come on. It's dude.
All right.
I do it with lime, and with this one, it's like 2 shots of tequila. Let's not be stingy on the juice. 2 shots of tequila, some liquid death, and then like some lime juice. It is amazing. It's bomb.
The Drew Skinny LD margarita. Got it.
It's good. Yeah, I highly recommend it. We're gonna have some when you come over.
Oh, I already know.
Don't.
Let's get into it. We mentioned, we have a great guest for you today. We're excited to get to know more. He was an artist under the AV8 Records out of New York City, the label that brought to you Fat Man Scoop and Crooklyn Clan. And, he's been on countless remix sites and blogs and record pools. He's worked on Disney cruise lines. He's played gigs all over the world, from Hong Kong to Alaska. He is a newer DMS team member. Please help us welcome PeteDown.
Yeah.
What's up, fellas?
Hey. We're happy to have you on the show today. We really
Thanks
appreciate
for having me, guys.
we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us and chat with us for a little bit.
Cool. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. Honestly, a ton of your edits are in my Serato. You just been killing it, and I've watched the evolution too. It's just you just keep getting better and better and better, and it just keeps growing to new heights and doing all this stuff. So I can't wait to talk more about production. We always like to start it off with a rapid fire to just kind of warm things up and just ask some silly questions. So loosen everybody up.
So we got these great segment videos. If you haven't listened to the podcast, one of our episodes before, we have great segment videos that take us into each of our different topics, and we're gonna play one of them. This is we had to call in some favors for this one, you'll see it. Here we go. We're gonna play it.
This is Arnold here, the movie star of Twins and Kindergarten Cop. Drew and Fuse are going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to answer them immediately. Don't bullshit them. Answer the questions. Hurry! I'm after the chopper. It's now time for rapid fire.
All right. That's the $1 million video right there.
Arnold came through.
One of the first things that we like to ask everybody is just some stuff that you're currently listening to, whether it's podcasts or music or whatever. What is just in your personal time, something you like to listen to?
Well, for podcasts, I've been watching your show. It's been pretty cool. I have been. I watched I think it was Mike D you just had on not too long ago.
I saw you're playing with. Well, you're not playing with him, but you guys are playing the same venue coming up.
Yeah, and there's a couple other ones too I've watched. But yeah, I've been watching. That's basically it for podcasts. I haven't followed too many. But as far as music goes, I've been listening to some old Portishead lately. And it's a Portishead in my car. Yeah, I've been listening to that.
You know how much I love Portishead? Is one of my favorite groups. I got it all on vinyl, and I saw them recently. They came to LA when they re-released. They released 3, their latest album. Well, I mean, at this point, it's been 7 years probably. But dude, what a phenomenal band! I'm such a huge fan. Which album would you go with?
Oh, Dummy.
Dummy is probably the best one. But I love the beats on the other one too. I mean,
they're all good.
I feel like when I got into DJing as I was growing, I really wanted to learn how to scratch like the guy from that, because he had this weird mixer, could never figure it out. If you watch the live at Roseland, the mixer that he has he's not cutting on the crossfader. It has a button for the crossfade. If you watch it, because I watched it 1 billion times because I tried to duplicate what he was doing, but he would just
tap on YouTube.
Yeah, it's up on YouTube, so it's live at Roseland. So when he was doing those cuts, he would just tap it, and that's how he would do his cuts. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah,
sick. I'm gonna have to break out some Portishead now. You've inspired me. I like that.
Do you have a favorite remixer or producer, and not just in the DJ
that's a
world?
Tough question.
Yeah, you can name a few if you want.
Oh, there's so many, dude. There's so many. I like Q. I like Scooter. I like DeVille. I like so many, dude. There's too many. I got too much respect for so many of them, and it's just too hard to pick just one. That'd be insane. I mean, I play so many people's stuff. It's crazy.
Right. Is there a producer or anything that you listen to and just the music world in general, like maybe Calvin Harris or
Yes. Oh, yeah. Calvin Harris. He's one of my favorite producers. I like Tiesto. He's got a lot of great stuff, even though I'm sure a lot of his stuff is ghost produced, but still comes out with bangers.
Yeah, you're not going to tell us, but you're probably a ghost producer for Tiesto, I'm guessing.
No, I wish I was though.
It'd be a lot cooler if I was.
Right? Yeah, like classic producers that I came up on, like Timbaland. I really like Timbo stuff because he was so creative and out of the box. The Neptunes. Even before that, like just there's so many. Primo, I grew up on. So like, yeah, so many great.
And you get, since you're producing, are you grabbing like drum sounds from them or any things that you're pulling from them?
I do use some drum packs from different artists and stuff. Yeah, I incorporate some of that. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, a lot of it is like, I mean, it comes down to like tuning my drums a lot of times so that it sounds. I do a lot of redrumming, you guys know. So I try to tune my drums to sound like the drums that are already on the record, but give it a little extra just so don't sound exactly like it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I use all kinds of packs from different artists and stuff.
I feel like in the last like maybe couple years, like your redrums and like just the overall production is like super dialed in now. And I know you've been working a lot and you've been making edits for years, but I feel like you've really perfected like that. Those redrums are amazing. I anytime I see them come out anymore, I'm pretty much like, it's like an instant download. I don't even have to listen to it.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot because I put a lot of work into getting to this point. You know what I mean? Like after all these years, you go back, you listen to old stuff I've done like 5-10 years ago, and it's like, man, that was terrible. You know? You hope that you grow after all these years. You know what I mean? All the time you put into it, you hope that you're growing with it.
Both of us say that regularly. Like we just wish we could completely erase half of our back catalog of edits we've put out because they're just like
absolutely
much over times. But your drums are it just adds so much more. And I feel that the majority of the time I only keep your edit. I don't even keep the original anymore. It's like, I get the PeteDown. That's the one I keep. And I think it sounds just so much better. You've perfected it for sure. That tune, what you were mentioning.
Yeah. Like I said, it's something that you grow with, you know what I mean? So I feel like after years of doing it and finding ways to make it sound better and better and better, you find your niche, you know? And that's basically, I think, where it's come to, you know?
We're going to talk more about production here in a little bit, but we have some more rapid fire here. We'll get back to that.
Yeah. So we ask everybody this question, and it's a stumper, and it's just supposed to be fun. And one of the things we're going to do with it is we're going to make a T-shirt based upon all the answers from this question. But what is the best non-curse word, one-word insult? We've gotten clown. We've gotten scallywag. We've gotten just douche. We've gotten...
I got one I use with my daughter a lot. It's funny. I say bozo a lot. So it's like clown.
Bozo.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I say bozo a lot. That's like my one-word curse word.
Perfect. That's got to be an East Coast thing because I've heard that before, but it's so good. I love it.
I think last week's guest, Justin the DJ, that was his word, right, Drew? Bozo?
I don't know.
Because he was saying somebody says it that he works with.
He did.
Somebody says it with an accent. Yeah.
I think it is an East Coast thing. It's a
it's
great
not original
one.
then.
No,
it's all good.
It's so good because clowns are creepy, man. Let's be honest.
Right.
So we like to ask this question too. If we were going to come visit you in your hometown, what's the food spot you would take us to that you can't get like in anywhere else other than like that area? So you're in Boston. Is there a specific?
Well, I live south of Boston, so it's like 40 minutes from Boston.
Okay.
So my city is a lot of Portuguese people here, so we have a strong Portuguese culture. So I would take you definitely to one of the Portuguese restaurants here. So that'd be definitely different for you guys.
I like that. I didn't know that about that.
Yeah. And what would be your order? And what's the name of the place that you like most? And what would be your order?
I would say it's called Sagres. It's a Portuguese restaurant here in Fall River. Yeah, that'd be the first place I would take you to. Then there's another place. It's a deli spot like for sandwiches and subs out here. That's real popular. Called Marzilli's. I think they're Italian, but it's still one of like our traditional spots for people to go get subs and stuff like that. Yeah, so those would be definitely the top two. I'd take you guys to.
What's your order? What are you ordering? Like, what
What am I ordering? Well, I don't eat meat, so I would get like a fish plate.
Okay.
One of their fish plates. Yeah,
They
but
got
they're
a
really
good
known
veggie
for their
sub?
steak plates. So like, if you're a big steak fan, that's what they're known
Okay.
for. Their steak plates with their fries and rice and eggs. That's how they serve it. And if you're a steak guy, that would probably be your go-to.
I like it. I am a steak guy, but my wife was vegetarian for many years, so I do respect a good, veggie sandwich or whatever.
If you were in a room full of DJs and you had to, everybody's bragging about something they've done with their career, and you felt the need to brag about something that you've done in your career in a positive way, what's something that you would brag about? Is there like a memorable night in the DJ booth with somebody? Is there a specific event that you've done that really felt like kind of launched your career more?
Yeah, to say a specific one, I would say working for Disney though. That was kind of big. That was like a big step in my career because it did open up a lot of doors and other things. So
Was that the cruise lines that you were doing?
yeah.
Or?
When I
Okay.
started working for the cruise line, because it opened up doors too for doing like production for them as well. Like I do like producing like DJ mixes and edits for like their dance routines and things like that. And
Wow.
some other like shows that they have on the ships, not just one ship, but all their ships. So it was getting played on all their ships. So stuff like that, it really opened up the doors for me behind the scenes as well too. So yeah, I would have to say, yeah, definitely Disney Cruise Lines was big for me.
What about like for any of their parades or any of that? We've heard
No,
that.
because it was the Disney Cruise Line and the Disney World or Disneyland is like two different things, in a sense. Like, so a lot of the stuff I was doing was more for the cruise line and not for the for the parks itself. You know what I mean?
Right.
So talking more about that, were you like living on the boat for a while, DJing?
Oh yeah. We would go out for like a 2-week cruise. So I'd be a guest DJ on the ship for 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks they'd have a different DJ.
Okay.
So like I would leave the ship, and there would be another guest DJ that would come on the ship for 2 weeks. So they were like 2-week contracts.
What was the tour? What was the tour that you were doing? Is it like a European tour, or do they fly you somewhere and then you do it? Or
yeah, so they would fly us into Orlando, and then we would take one of their tour buses. They have like their own bus line, and it would bring us right to the ship. And then from the ship, we would do the first 2 years we were just doing like Nassau, Bahamas. So we were in the Caribbean, and then after a couple of years, they took on another ships because Disney only has 4 cruise ships. Now they have 5. This year they just released another one, but at the time they only had 4, and 2 were always in the Caribbean. So when they got the second one in the Caribbean, that one was starting to do more of like Mexico, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, all those different islands. And that was a 1 week at a time cruise. So you go out for a week and then come back, and you'd hit all those different islands in 1 week and then come back to port. All new guests would get on a ship, and then we'd go back out to sea again, do the same itinerary. On the other ship, it was just 3 and 4 day cruises, real quick to Nassau and back. That's all they were doing on that ship. So it was a great experience.
So you'd be doing multiple runs on the ship with different, like a new crowd of people on the ship.
New guests.
But you would be on the boat for 2 weeks straight.
2 weeks, right? With different guests if we were on, one of the ships was called the Fantasy. So we were on a Fantasy. That one was doing the 1 week itineraries. So that would be 1 week, come back with the same guests. A whole group of guests would come on, and then we go back out again. The Disney Dream was doing 3 and 4 day cruises just to Nassau, and that's it. But every 3-4 days, you get new guests on the ship.
So you're the first person that we've talked to that's like that we've actually talked about DJing on a cruise ship. So we're just kind of interested on the process of it, and like, what would a day be like? Did they kind of keep you fully busy on there, or did you kind of
All right. So when I first started, we only had like to work in a nightclub every night in the nightclub. That's it. You know, so you're working six
What
days a week in a club. You
what
get one
year
night
is
a week
this?
off. This is going back like 2011, 2012.
Okay, not that long ago. I mean, 10
Yeah,
years, but still seems like not that far ago. Yeah.
right. So that was the beginning when I first started working with them. I worked with them for like 8 years, up and just before COVID. That's when we ended the contract with Disney. Basically, a day would consist of you'd have the whole day to yourself on the cruise ship at the beginning. You do whatever you want. You go out. You know, you stood in the guest areas. You stayed with the guests, even though you were part of crew. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it was
Cool.
kind of like
Yeah.
you weren't living in the downstairs with the crew. You weren't like restricted from the guest areas. You were able to do everything you wanted to. And then on crew days that we have like sail days where you don't dock, you're just out on the water all day. Those days they might have you spend like an hour and a half poolside set during the day. So that would be like once or twice a week. You do that. You were basically just doing a nightclub every night, and you do one specialty show out on the deck. They had call it Pirate Night. It would be like a pirate night. They would do like Pirates of the
Arr.
Caribbean. Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole ship was Pirates of the Caribbean all night, right? So they would do a whole show with fireworks and everything off the ship, and you were part of the show as a DJ. You'd have
That's
to get in
rad.
costume as a pirate, dressed as a
Yeah.
pirate. They'd have a DJ set on the stage for you. You would do like a half hour, 45-minute set for the guests.
Do they make you do a whole playlist, or do you have to turn in what you're going to play? How does that? I've always
Well,
been
yeah,
curious about that, especially with Disney. I can only
yeah,
imagine how picky they are.
yeah, they were like certain
Mouse.
songs. It wasn't even just about like swearing. You would also have to be the content. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
what they're
jeez.
talking about. So certain songs, like I remember for Gangnam Style, right? I'd have to make a special edit of Gangnam Style where I can't really remember the lyrics, but it was something about in the lyric that they didn't want in the song. So I had to, in order to play, I had to make a special edit so it go all instrumental for like 2 or 3 bars of the song in the hook.
Wow.
Yes, and then give it and then submit it to them so they can listen to it and approve it before I could play it on the ship. And you know how big Gangnam Style was at the time when it first came out. It was
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
Another one was Nicki Minaj, Starships.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Had to be super cleaned up, like
I'm sure.
I can imagine. What are you like editing in the Kids Bop version? You're like just replacing some of the words with.
Well, I was using the
Kids Bop, can I
instrumental.
use your acapella?
Right.
Totally.
No, I was actually using the instrumentals just to like let it ride with just an instrumental bed so there wouldn't be, any of the content. So many songs that we couldn't play, like Fireball. I remember that was another one too. Because of the
That's the
content
one
in
I
that.
laugh at regularly because it's like twerking in your bra and thong, talking about Miley Cyrus, and every time it makes me cringe when I'm playing it, and most people don't even hear those words. They don't hear
Right.
it.
So
Yeah.
the first day on the ship, you would have a meeting with the music and entertainment directors right off the bat. The assistant cruise director, the entertainment director, and the music director. And they would sit you down and basically give you a run off a list of like, here's what you can't play, here's what you can play, and then take you from there, like, give you a breakdown of what you're doing that week. Because sometimes things change,
What about at the club? Were you allowed to play dirty stuff at the club or no?
They still wanted you to keep it clean, but you were allowed to play some of the songs you weren't able to play up on a deck, like for the family.
That makes sense.
For the family
I mean,
shows. So yeah,
it's
there was
while
certain
it's
songs.
why it's annoying that to have to go through that process. I kind of respect that so much out of their brand that they go that far to care about
Oh,
each
yeah.
lyric. Like I think that's cool. Like
I worked for Disney when I was it was right out of high school. I worked at Disneyland and I would drive in the back lot and collect all the film. Yes, I'm old as dirt, but I actually collect the film canisters to go get them, processed and everything. You couldn't have facial hair. They were like really, really, really strict. It's like
Yeah.
no
Some of the crew, they can't have
sideburns, no
tattoos.
mustache, no nothing.
Yep.
You got to wear full sleeves if you have
Yep.
tattoos or anything,
Right.
for sure.
Yep. It's like that on the cruise ship as well too. Not so much for the guest DJs, but for the crew staff DJs, because they have a crew staff DJ on as well. So you have a guest DJs were just there to do the club and the family shows. The crew staff DJ had other other things to do. So they would be playing like bingo. They'd be doing all kinds of game shows with the people. So they weren't just actually DJing; they were like hosting
Gotcha.
shows during the day too. So I give it up to them guys. They got a lot on their plates. Like they might send them to go watch the door at the theater while people are coming in, just greeting people. The other guys, you're a crew staff DJ, but that's what you're doing. You're standing by
they're
the
more
doors
of like
meeting people.
the employee, like a staff member, a full staff member, where you were treated like a guest DJ in general.
Yeah. Definitely two different worlds. Like the guest DJ and the crew staff DJs are two different things. At least as on the Disney experience. I don't know about any of the cruise line, but for Disney, it
that makes
definitely
sense.
was. Yeah.
And then like the nightclub on the boat, was it how many people would that hold?
Well, it was a great club, but it wasn't always busy. I'll tell you that. Most of the time,
Yeah.
you were DJing for like 30, 40 people at the bar, and it'd be so hard to get everybody to dance because you have such a, such a diverse group of people. Like, you know what I mean? You might have like 60-year-olds there because they never go to a nightclub.
Yeah.
So it's their first time in a nightclub since probably in 20 years. So they're like, oh, this is great, right? And they're asking you for like songs from like the 70s. And then you got a younger crowd that are like in their 20s, and they're like, want to hear the stuff that we play in nightclubs. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it was tough. It could be tricky, You really have to be, I think to me, it helped me become more diverse for sure when it came to playing sets back home. Because like now I wasn't afraid to like, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. You know what I mean? Like where before you'd hold back before, and now it's like, I just play it. Because if I feel like it'll work, it'll work.
Yeah. It's almost like
Totally.
DJing at a wedding.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. Disney was like DJing at a wedding every day. That was the nightclub experience for me.
That's interesting. Nowadays, now that the world's kind of back to normal, are you DJing a lot? Are you playing out a lot? How many days?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's a normal week for you?
Fridays and Saturdays, I'm in the clubs. Okay. Fridays, yeah. Fridays, I normally play in either Boston or Providence because I'm close by both cities. I'm like I said, I'm 40 minutes away from Boston and 20 minutes from Providence. So I'm kind of in the middle, so I play both cities. And Saturdays, I have a residency here in a city just outside of my city. It's another like 15 minutes from here that I play at every Saturday. So that's basically my weekends. And sometimes I'll do like things during the day on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, private parties, stuff like that, birthday parties, cookouts, whatever's going on, But
totally.
Most time it's just Fridays and Saturdays, my schedule.
That's cool. And both more clubby or both more bar?
Mostly bar and club scenes. Mostly bars though, because to be honest, it's like there hasn't been as many clubs now as there used to be.
Right.
Most of the clubs, they shut down. You really can't have a nightclub out here with just relying on 2 nights of business. You really can't. So it's become that restaurant converted into nightclub type of places, the sports bars, you know what I mean? That's what's doing it out here,
Yeah, the bottle service isn't what it was, man. That's for sure. It is about that. You got to be able to have a weekday income, like you're saying. You got to have that restaurant money or something to just be able to do it.
I mean, we still in Boston, we still have a good handful of full nightclubs. But it's more of a younger crowd, you know what I mean? It's more of that in the early 20s, mid 20s type of crowd. So it's like, it doesn't really fit what I do, you know what I mean? I play more open format, more of a bar DJ, more of that kind of club. But,
totally.
So there's that.
One of the things we like to talk about on the show, we do the Serato Top 5, usually with DJs that we have on. So we talk. Okay. So if you wouldn't mind, we would love to do Serato Top 5 with you.
Okay. So I got to go into my Serato, my top plays. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So you would go into a Serato and then you would sort by your play count. And we're going to run a segment video real quick.
Hello, this is Bond. James Bond. Joanne Fuse, I think it's about time we talk about music. Personally, I like to listen to grown and sexy smooth jazz with my favorite girl, Pussy Galore. Now make me a cold martini, shaken, not stirred, and break down your top music.
So I actually recently found a bug in the top plays. So we understand that, and so the bug that I found was I used Mixed in Key, the latest one, 8, or is it 10
Yeah,
now?
okay.
I don't remember. But mix and key, when you run it through and it doesn't have a play count,
Yep.
just gives it a random number. I ran through a bunch of new songs and it had like 20, 30, 10. It was all over the board. So we understand that the numbers can be a little skewed. If you feel that something's totally wrong, just skip it and let us know the other one. But yeah,
All right. So am I going 5 to 1 or 1 to 5?
whatever makes you
1
happy.
to 5, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to
All right,
do.
we'll go 5 to 1.
All right.
All right.
So number 5, 4, 5. All right. So number 5 is Poison, Belle Biv DeVoe.
Okay,
Love it.
that's a good one. I don't think we haven't even
Great one.
somebody's hit that one. Yeah, that's a good one. I play that song a lot still, especially earlier in my set.
Number 4 is Loud Luxury, Body.
Okay.
This is super diverse already. I love it.
All right. So number 3 is Alicia Keys, No One, the Scooter remix.
Oh,
Okay. I play
banger.
that one too. Drew made a little chop of that one that I play, and I play it probably almost every night.
Yeah, every night. That's such a sleeper that when people hear it, they're like, "Wow,
Yep.
this is dope." And
Yep.
then it's in and out. Yeah, that one he killed that one for sure.
Yeah. J Balvin, Miante is number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see that I'm playing like a lot of more like reggae type of
Yeah.
that kind of because number 1 is Nice for What, it's Drake, and it's the Delirious and Alex K remix, which is also like a reggae beat. I don't know if you heard that one, but yeah, that's
cool.
The number 1 with the most plays. I was actually surprised at some of these records because I was like, wow, I played that a lot then. Like, I gotta stop playing these records. I gotta find something else to hit.
I just re-edited Mi Gente because I was playing it so much too, and I re-edited it to with it has the like kind of the hook drop first, and then so I did the hook drop first, little verse, then hook drop, and then I made another transition up that I use just about every night because it just it works. It works to go into that kind
what
of
about the play spins? Like how many plays on the records? Like I'd be curious to know like one of your top records and how many plays it had. Not just that it's number 1, but how many plays?
I know, man. What do you got, Fuse, on yours? I think mine are just screwed up. I think
I can look it up here real quick. I'll
look
put
right
on the
now.
spot. I haven't looked in a while, so I haven't looked since like maybe one of the earlier episodes.
I know for a fact mine is skewed in that it has. If I were to include the clean and dirty, it would have been a lot. Some songs would have been a lot higher.
Right.
I'll do a wedding and then I'll do the club.
Right.
So like the numbers aren't. I need to go through them and add
I'm just going according to like I just hit all and what was the total plays. That's all I'm doing.
My number 1 is still the same. Probably it's always been, which is Nicki Minaj and Trey Songz "Bottoms Up."
The numbers on that.
How many plays?
How many times?
So it's 601.
Oh,
what?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even have that many. I either mine's not recording enough or
how far are you going back though? How far are you going back though?
That's just whenever the play count started, I would imagine, because my library is copied over. So the next one would be my next one is a Scooter edit. The Rude Boy, when he did the MTV VMA version that she did. That's like
I play
reggae
that every night, dude. I play that every night.
That's the next one. And that one's at just over 500, like 512. Yeah.
Bro, you must play more than me because mine's only 170s.
That's where I'm at. I'm like at 125 on my number 1.
The next one is Lollipop, but it's a Joe Maz edit. And he put it, I think, on his Patreon recently. But I've had this one for a couple years somehow. Maybe he put it out like a pack or something. But that edit is dope, and the drums it's so much harder. Yeah.
I play that one too.
And then my next one is Beyonce "Crazy in Love," and this is where it drops down. This one has only got 209 plays. And then the next one is Drake "One Dance," but the Scooter "Hips Don't Lie" version.
I don't think I heard that one.
It's just Drake "One Dance" over Shakira "Hips Don't Lie," and that one's at
One Dance free drum.
Me,
Pete,
or Pete?
Did I do it? No, I didn't. I don't think I did. No. I don't think I did.
I was looking for my top PeteDown plays, and that was Sweetie Best Friend.
Okay. Yep.
I have a bunch of them, but I think it's skewed. Bad Bunny, Kayaita.
Mm-hmm.
That Kid Leroy, Stay. These are just PeteDown only ones.
I play the Hot Girl Bummer drop-in edit that you made a lot.
I love that Stay with one that you did. I play that one every week.
Play that one all the time too. I play the Club Can't Handle Me, the 2021 remix you did.
I play that a lot too.
That one works.
Coffee
good.
Toast you did was great too. I love that one.
I play that one too. I mean, so many edits I make that I don't even play because they don't just fit my sets a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like
we
just
we talk about that all the time. Like we talk about that all the time, especially with guys that like don't edit. They never understand it. They're like, "What? You don't play a lot of your?" And I'm like, "Well, some of the stuff we just make just to put up, you know, like."
And not only that too, I find like a lot of guys who use a lot of stuff are like I have a list of like mix show DJs. So like some of the stuff I make works better for them than it would for like me in the club scene. But they need it because they need to play something different on the radio. And sometimes you know it just fits better. Like certain artists, certain songs. It's just like they're not playing that in the club. That just doesn't work.
I just started doing a regular mix show, and man, I'm definitely learning. Like I got to have different edits of different stuff, and it's a lot of work, dude. But I like it. That's why I did it. That's why I took on the show. Is just because I wanted the practice for it. So
is it like radio?
Yeah,
commercial radio.
It's a throwback show in Portland that I'm doing.
Okay.
The other edit I've been playing of yours recently that I just like shortened for myself, but is your Hey Mickey remix of the ABCD EFU song because
that one's big for me.
That one I like because so I play in a club on Saturday and I play in a bar on Friday, and then Friday night like I can't really play a lot of like up tempo stuff. It just doesn't work there, and that version of that song crushes for me there because it fits in. Like I'll play like Locked Out of Heaven or Mr. Brightside and stuff like that kind of around it, and it works great.
One of the places I play at, like my residency that I was talking about earlier, their Saturday night is like it's really like a college bar too. So like right now is mostly locals, but like come September it's gonna be a lot of college students, and that's why like I was playing a lot of them kind of edits myself too, you know, because that went over so big for me, that song, the whole ABC with the Mickey. The crowd would just eat it up. They would eat that up.
I love that edit you did. It's so good.
Yeah, the energy was killer.
Yeah. It was a great flip on it because I just kept hearing a lot of EDM versions, like Fuse was saying, and it was just such a different way of thinking about it. I just liked it. In fact, I think I deleted the original, and that was the one I kept for a lower BPM.
One of the things we wanted to talk to you about is you were an artist under AV8 Records. So when you were doing that, were you working as yourself, PeteDown, or what were you working under a different alias?
No, I was still doing PeteDown. This is the beginning. This is when you remember like Crooklyn Clan and Crack for DJs and all those sites were taking off.
Yeah, sure.
Well, AV8 was one of the first to approach me about joining them to do edits for them. So I was doing all my remixes for them. And at the time, it was basically exclusive because I wasn't really doing any other work for anybody else until I found out that I could go non-exclusive. And then when I did, that's when I started like linking up with like Your Remix. I don't know if you remember them, yourremix.com. And they were huge. And I mean, I really took, like, I felt like my edits really took off was during the yourremix.com because I was getting so much, I was making some good money on that site. But that was like the killer one for me. Like,
I've heard that from multiple DJs. That was the site that a lot of people did well.
I was killing it.
Were you getting paid?
And again, you know,
I was just going to ask, were you getting paid per download or on that site at the time?
Yeah.
Kind of like Crooklyn Clan was?
Yep, basically the same thing. I think it was like a 50-50 or 60-40 split, something like that, whatever it was. But that site really it really helped me take off as a DJ, producer, remix, or whatever you want to call it. That really took it off the ground. Like big time. Like I was doing okay in '88, but the funny thing was, I was thinking I was doing really well with the Your Remix because of the income, but like internationally, I was making my name was through AV8 because that's what brought me over to DJ over there was making edits on AV8. And when I actually get the opportunity to go play in Hong Kong, and then I went to Japan, that was when I seen it firsthand. Like, wow, like AV8 is big out here. Like I didn't even realize how big they were. Like Crooklyn Clan really took that AV8 records and but everything they did in the '90s. Like I don't know if you guys collected vinyl back then, but you know whatever they were putting out in the '90s and early 2000s, they really made a name for themselves overseas in that market. You know, AV8 was big out there because of that.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the remixes of that were on some of these records that were coming out?
I think
something that you remember.
I think that Be Faithful might have been one of them on a vinyl.
Well, yeah, no, I had that one, but I'm saying yours. What was like?
Oh, mine weren't on vinyl. I didn't get anything.
Oh no, they weren't. Oh, okay. Okay.
They were just supporting the site, so it was the digital downloads. They would
right.
But I was just saying, like the notoriety I was getting internationally was coming from AV8 and not so much Your Remix. Your Remix was basically, again, mostly supported by, here in the States, I guess,
Yeah.
Right. But what led me to get overseas was being on AV8. Because the promoter that booked me to go to Japan booked me based on being on AV8. That's what made him want to.
You've played over there several times, or did you do a tour, or how did that work?
We set it up as a tour. So once I got the booking for the to go DJ in Hong Kong, then I had somebody reach out to me, asking me if I wanted to, if I'd be interested in going to Japan around the same time to piggyback that, while I was over there in Hong Kong. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. So he's like, I'm going to try to set up a bunch of dates for you. And then when he came back with the dates and everything worked out. So yeah, I went to Hong Kong, right to Japan from there,
That's awesome. And what year was that when you were traveling over there?
I think that was also 2011. Yeah, 2011.
A lot of American DJs at that time were traveling over there. So that makes complete sense.
Yeah. I mean, I remember some of the guys like the Anthem Kings were one of them. I think DeVille at the time too. Beat Breaker.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of guys here from the States were starting to go over there at that time.
Do you remember the names of the clubs you played at over there?
Where did I play at? Oh, I played at the Beijing Club in Hong Kong. That's where I played. I think it became Magnum after or something like that. Because it like changed names every 2-3 years. That they just like shut it down, change the name of the color, change the furniture, whatever, slap a new name on it, start all over again. Like it's crazy.
It's like every club.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious what you were playing and what a day in being in Hong Kong was like. I mean, it's fascinating to me. Did they put you up in a hotel?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or were you because this was a residency, right? So you'd be there for maybe a couple weeks, or you were bouncing around.
This was just a one-time.
It was a one-off. Oh, it was a one-off.
Yeah, it was a one-off. Yeah. They flew me in, picked me up at the airport, took me to the hotel, and then it was a nice hotel too. Then they came pick me up at the hotel and brought me to the club. Then after the club was over, the same thing. They brought me back to the hotel. So I had like car service basically that whole weekend. I was there for 3 days. I got there I played on a Friday. I stood there on a Saturday, and then I left on a Sunday. So it was like a weekend. I was in it. I played only one gig.
What's that flight?
It took me, I think it was 20 hours because I flew from Boston to San Fran, and then San Fran to Hong Kong.
Wow. That's a long flight.
It was a long flight. Yeah, it was. It was definitely a long travel day. And then when I got to, I left on Sunday from Hong Kong. It was like a 5-hour flight, I believe, to Osaka, Japan. And that's where I stood, was in Osaka for like 3 days, just chilling. But they covered my hotel for the whole week. And they had somebody come pick me up and take me, tour around the city, check out, all the touristy spots and things like that. So for the first 3 days, I just did nothing. But then the Thursday, I had to take a train to Kyoto, which was like, I believe, an hour or an hour and a half from Osaka. And I played at a club there, Man, I wish I would have. If I would have had this, I would have gave you the information on the clubs I played at because I can't think of the names. But then the Friday I played in Osaka, and then the Saturday I played in Kyoto. It was like 3 cities: Osaka, Kyoto, and Kobe City. That was the third one. So yeah, it was like a train ride. Everything was by train. Those fast trains too. Those
Yeah,
were
those
like
super
50 miles
fast
an hour.
ones.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
First time on that, so I was like, it was a crazy experience.
What a great experience. And what's some of the music that you're playing, or what were some of the differences in these clubs versus like clubs back at home?
To be honest, at the time, it was very like they were still big. Like in Japan, they were still big on like the whole East Coast hip hop movement. Like not just East Coast, because they were into some West Coast stuff too. But like I think like the early 2010, so 2010, 2011, and it was still big on like Party Up and Jay-Z stuff, like stuff from like that like late 90s, early 2000s. It was really hitting in the clubs at the time when I was out there. And so I had to mix that into like what was big at the time here in the States, because I'm going out there representing now. I'm not thinking I'm gonna go just drop a set of all early 2000s stuff. So I was still playing like the flow riders that were big over here in the States, and the whole electro house was so big at that time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Electro house was huge. So you had LMFAO and
Like
just so many.
Calvin
Yeah,
Harris and all
that whole movement was so strong. So I had to mix that and then transition into the whole hip hop and then go back and forth with that. So it was kind of tricky at first, until you figured out your crowd and then you just run with it. But every night was kind of like testing the waters. Like, are they into the hip hop or are they more into the the dancing top 40 stuff? Where in Hong Kong it was strictly 128 BPM. All dance and house and electric, and that's electro remixes, and that's all they wanted. You know what I'm saying? So going from that to like Japan was like, okay, they're more hip hop in Japan than they were in Hong Kong for sure.
Any local records that you were hitting them with, or like
No.
requested? Nothing.
And even if they did, I probably wouldn't even know. To be honest, I wouldn't even know. So that I was playing all just stuff that we play here, basically.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool that you got to do that. Were the clubs pretty big, or were they smaller, like in size and capacity?
Well, the Bijou Club in Hong Kong was pretty big. That was probably like 400 or 500 people in capacity. It was a good sized club.
Okay.
And then the next biggest one I think I played at was the one in Kyoto, which was also like another 300-400 capacity. But the other two were like 200 to 300, not as big. So,
but still, those are
decent size,
substantial size. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it like that today, because today most of these places would be filled with tables and chairs, and that eats up most of the room. You know what I mean? Where back then it'd be like more open, because there wouldn't be as many tables and chairs because they're not serving food too. Like over here, most of these places, everything is tables and chairs, and it eats up most of the dance floor. So it's like you look at the room, you're like, yeah, it fits like 500 people in there, but you only got 200 on a dance floor. You know what I mean? Like it's just different layouts from back then.
That's awesome that you got to do that, and that your production and that your stuff with AV8 kind of opened that door for you to go over there.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of production, we kind of just wanted to talk a little bit of production with you. So we have another great segment video produced by Drew Pierce that we're going to run here, and then we'll talk a little more production.
It's now time for music production. Let's twist some knobs.
All right, that's another great Drew Pierce production there. Spent millions of dollars on that budget making that video, as you can tell.
Maybe we get some PeteDown remixes on some of these so that they're a little bit better and not so terrible.
I know recently you posted a picture of your studio, which you're obviously in right now. Guys, or if you guys are listening, if you want to see Pete sitting in front of his studio or sitting in front of his console, you could say, you could switch over to YouTube and check it out. But I noticed you posted a picture recently of your studio, and you're using a lot more gear, it seems like, in terms of like rack mount equipment and stuff like that. And then my first question is, you are using Ableton, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And then we just kind of wanted to ask, like, in terms of gear, what you're using, and what your thoughts are and all that.
Okay.
It looks like you got two screens back there. You have a
Yeah.
do you have a home desktop, and then just maybe talk about your speakers and just we always like to talk tech, and a lot of the fans like to geek out on what's good.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, I run do everything through Ableton. I'm using I recently got rid of my universal audio interface, and I upgraded to a Lynx Aurora. I don't know if you're familiar with that company, but they just have better like audio to digital converters because I wanted to start doing more out of the box. But so it's more like a hybrid mixing now. So it's like I'm running everything through the through like a 16 channel mixer, and then back into the through the converter back into the interface. So
What's the mixer
it's
you
coming out of the
use?
box, going back. It's a dangerous music.
Okay.
You heard dangerous music. So yeah, I'm basically using that now. Just because I wanted to like try to get better quality mixes, I guess. I don't know. It's just preference thing, I guess. But yeah, I definitely wanted to go the hybrid style, and that's basically what I started to get into. For speakers, I'm using Dyne Audio, the Core 59s. I don't know if you've ever heard of those.
I haven't.
So I'm running with the Core 59.
They have a sub on the bottom too. I see the satellites. You also have a sub underneath.
No, well I do, but I don't really use it. I just have
Yeah.
The two top, the ones on the sides. Those are the Dyne Audios, and then I have the little cubes behind me. Next time, you see the little cubes.
Yeah.
Those are what do they call those again? Oratones. The Oratones. I use that. That's like kind of like having computer speakers. Let's say like so if you wanted to go from like the big speakers, and you want to get a second opinion on what you're doing, you can go into the Oratones and get check out
That
you're mixing a different.
That Lynx Aurora is not a cheap sound card, too. So I mean, that's an investment right there to make. I mean, if you guys are listening, that's some more high quality, what's the word I'm looking, high end like studio gear, like real studio gear, not just like your basic Focusrite sound card, like.
Right, but Focusrite is nice too. Don't get it.
I use
They make some good
Focusrite. I have a Focusrite sound card, but that one's definitely the step up for sure.
Yeah, again, it's mostly because of the converters. Because again, once you come out of the box, digital to audio conversion, you don't want to lose that quality, so you want to have everything up to par going back in, and that's why I kind of like I went that route. I wanted to go.
Makes sense.
What else am I using? Oh, I recently got I got a compressor and also an EQ, and they're both they're pretty cool because it's like even though they're analog, they have plugins for them, so you can bring everything. It's totally recallable. So anything that you adjust on the compressor, you can save it and bring it back next time you open up your project. So you don't have to worry about going back and adjusting the dials on the actual hardware because it brings it back in the software. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
That makes sense. Yeah. So you got like, for example, be like you have your compressor, you set all your dials, and you can do it either on the compressor itself on the hardware, or you can do it inside Ableton on the software by using the plugin. You know what I mean? And the EQ is the same way too. So like if I want I can adjust it in Ableton, or I can go right into the hardware and do it. And as you're moving one dial, it's moving on the screen as well too. It's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
The reason I went that route is because again, I didn't want to have to take notes and try to remember or take pictures or what were the settings when I did that remix, so that I have to go back to that remix and make any tweaks. I'd have to write everything down or take pictures so I could go back and adjust the compressor or the EQ. That's why I went that route too with the recallable stuff. It's a little pricey, but I think it's worth it.
Are you doing a lot of production outside of just like your DJ edits and stuff?
Yeah, I've been getting more and more into doing original stuff, and just last year during COVID, I really started pushing that. I was doing I ended up publishing myself with ASCAP, and then I started to send out a lot of my original beats to publishing companies to try to get like stuff synced or licensed, for like TVs and movies and whatever, stuff like that. And I actually landed my first deal with one company out in Europe, out of England, and so they signed one of my beats. So I was like excited about that. So I mean, I didn't make any money off of it yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if I'll ever make any money off of it, but at least the door's open now. So they've been sending me more work now, and I've been able to submit more stuff to them. And in the meantime, that's also, again, open doors for me to work with other companies. Other companies have been reaching out for beats too. So I submit the beats. You know what I mean? So you never know. Hopefully one day one of these beats start landing somewhere, some placements. Like the Kardashian show, that'd be great.
we had DJ Sprite on. He's saying that he was crushing it with video games. It's kind of similar.
Yes, right?
Getting it. They're doing full albums now for video games.
Insane.
Their made monster thing. So I know that's a giant industry, and that's how you're going to make your money is just landing that. So just getting in is such a huge step.
Right. And that's exactly like why I kind of upgraded to the sounds, the system in the studio, because I wanted to get better quality. Wanted to have that more like, I don't know, more like pro end gear sound. Like something you'd pay to go to a real studio, track out your stuff. You know what I mean? You want to get that big console sound, you got to, you know what I mean? You got to invest that money. So that's basically why I went that route, and I wanted to enhance the quality of the production.
Is there a place that you've learned or that you went to kind of piece all this stuff together, or are you just like
YouTube
all of
University?
I was gonna say, like, all of us just a bunch of nerds that way spend way too much time on. It's like, man. I like this mixer. I'm gonna watch 18,000 videos on this one mixer, and then be like, okay, I'll finally spend the money.
Then you know everything about it before you even get it.
There's a podcasting the Roadcaster 2 that I'm looking at, and I'll watch a full video on it and I'll go, no, I'll take it out of the thing. I'll be like, I can't afford it. And then I'll watch it again. I'll be like, then I'll take it out again. It's like that fight of like, fuck. So have you noticed, I mean, again, we're both complimenting you where we think your production sounds amazing. Have you noticed personally, like, are you really feeling like the investment was worth it?
I mean, it's been short, like a short window since I've gotten all this stuff, because I really started back in February, upgrading the studio with the new monitors, with all the rack mount gear, basically. So it's been a short window, and like sometimes when I sit here and say I feel like it's been a good investment, and I think of it as an investment for the long haul as well. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I feel like the more I use it, the more I'm going to get out of it. So I'm not just saying, oh yeah, was it worth it? It's hard to say. I mean, I can still do what I do without it, to be honest. You know what I mean? But is it going to sound 100% as good as what it is now with this gear? It's hard to say. I mean, no, maybe not.
But
I don't think so.
If you're anything like me and Fuse, though, a lot of this is for ourselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It isn't for how it's going to sound. It's like, I need this because I'm bored, and I need a little something extra to make me feel like I'm growing, and I respect that. I think,
and there's that too.
To it.
Yeah, and there's that aspect of it as well too. Like, you feel like you need something to keep yourself going, even if it's like you said, you're bored, or because you need that inspiration. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you get a piece of equipment and it's like an inspiration for you to go out and play with. You know what I mean? Like, you got a set of 1200s and you never get a new mixer. You're going to keep playing with that same setup all the time. You're going to get sick of it eventually. You're going to say, I need a new mixer to keep me entertained, right? Not because you need it, because you want it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why everyone's out at DJ Expo right now,
right?
Trying to look at the new gear and trying to find it. I can't imagine I can't imagine us all being stuck on 57s and still playing on Rain 57s.
Right. And you know, if there's a new mixer that comes out, you're gonna be, if you don't run out and get it today, you'll be at least intrigued by it. You know what I mean? And eventually you'll be like, maybe I do want that mixer. Whether you need it, no, you might not need it, but if that's what keeps you going, you know what I'm saying? By all means.
Totally. So what would you say? What is your setup like these days that you're actually DJing on? Are you on turntable still? Are you on a controller?
Yeah. Okay. I'm using the Rev 7 now. I've been using that since I got it back in, I think, March. Was it March? Yeah, I think it might have been March when I got it. I ordered it the day it came out. Yeah. And then I got it, I think it was March. And I've been using that ever since. That's my primarily what I use the most is the Rev 7. There are a bunch of clubs still here, bars and clubs here in Boston that still have turntables, and you just have to bring a mixer, which I love those gigs because it's like I just bring my backpack with my S9 in it, and it's great, especially when you don't have to carry stuff into the club.
Yeah. Are you on Phase or anything like that?
No, and that's another thing. I haven't jumped into Phase, which I hear it all the time from my buddy Josh Collins. Always like, dude, you got to get Phase. Dude, you got to get Phase. Because I had an issue at one of the venues, and the one turntable wasn't working. I couldn't get it to connect no matter what, and I bring like four cartridges with me every time I go play. And I tried all four, and I couldn't get the turntable to work. So I had to spin on one turntable all night, and that was it. He's just, dude, you got to get Phase. You got to get Phase. I'm like, I spend $400 on Phase, dude. Come on, man. I like my needles and my records. He was like, oh no, you got to do it. And the reason I haven't really done it is, again, like 90% of my gigs, I'm using the Rev 7. Like everywhere I go, I got to bring equipment. I'm bringing the Rev 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got a soft case for it? You got a hard case for it? And
I got. Well, what I did was I took the I had the low profile SRT case.
Yep.
If you're familiar with the SRT 1000, it's an Odyssey low profile case, so it's very
have that case
light duty, right? So I just modified it to put the Rev 7 in it. So it's still the same case. I just modified it, put the Rev 7 in it, and it works. It's not as heavy. I mean, I like the hard case because I can take it out and stack it. Because sometimes when you're like on a regular table, it's too low. So I like to stack it up. So that's why I went with that case instead of a soft case. I do like the soft cases, but I had to use that case because I like to bring up the height a little bit on it. I don't like to be bent over all night.
Yeah,
makes sense. I'm the same
way. Is there any gripes you have about the Rev 7? I've heard some people love it. The sound quality is amazing, but you know, everyone's got their thing about it, right?
Just curious. I have to say it's the 3345 button. I still don't get it.
Even Steve bitches about that hourly.
Dude, I don't get why it's there. And the other night, like, I still haven't perfected how to mix on these things like a turntable. Like on a turntable, I always had to, like, I could always push the record faster, having my finger on the record. I would guide it that way to speed it up, right? I was never that guy that would always play with the pitch all night. I was the guy who worked the platter, you know what I mean? So I'd slow it down on the platter and I'd speed it up with my hand on the record. Can't do that on the Rev 7 because it'll just go on you, right? So I've been trying to teach myself to speed up a mix using the pitch bend. But for some reason, my hand wants to go to the 45 and 33.
You can mini map it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to or something because I always, for some reason, I hit the 33 and 45, and the record just took off on me the other night. I was like, what the fuck? Like, seriously? So yeah, that's my only gripe with it right now. So
I didn't really think about that. That is how 100% how I play when I'm on turntables, and that's why I even still like kind of the SRT because you just jog the side, you know.
Yes.
So I can see where that would be an adjustment to make. Drew, are you playing on your Rev 7?
Yeah, it had been sitting for a little bit, but I finally got the cutout for the booth that I use for my weddings, and I played on it the other night. Halfway through the set, I was pretty comfortable about it. I have the same issues that you talk about. So, and you know, I'd ride the pitch or whatever, or I'd try and push it, but I felt like I was getting it. I was getting the push the more I played on it. That being said, I have heard. I can't remember who talked about it, but you can replace the slip mats inside, and I think that would maybe make that record not fly as fast. You know,
right.
I feel like it just flies so fast, just like the little nudge.
So I can't speed it up, and I still haven't got the feel of like because you can push the jog wheel too on it, like you're using an SRT. Right. 7. It's made for you to push it forward as well, but I just haven't got used to the platter spinning and me pushing it forward at the same time. Like I haven't got used to that feel yet. You know what I mean? So I've been trying to learn it with using the pitch bend, but then there's the 45 and 33 thing. So it's like maybe I just got to teach myself to use the damn pitch to speed up a mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I haven't done that.
Yeah, it is a process. I'm with you.
But as far as the overall unit, though, I love it. I think it's great, man. It's a great piece. Like I love the SRT too. I just didn't like. I've never been a big fan of like that whole 900 Nexus mixer setup with it's the effects. Like I don't like the effects, like how you can assign to 1 and 2, and it's like sometimes like I'll have it on 1 and I'm mixing out of it, and then I forget to shut it off after. You know what I mean? I love the toggle switches on the S series mixers.
Yeah.
Like that was my whole reason I sold my SRT to get the Rev 7 was because of the mixer, more so than the platters.
Right. I totally agree. I've kept both. Only I like the SRT because it's lighter. That Rev 7 is heavy, and so I like to have the options. But I'm totally with you. The Rev 7 is going to be my new controller for everything, unless I just need portability. I mean, it happens in some of the wedding venues that I'm in, and I just need to be able to go light. So I did keep both.
Yeah. Do you still have the 12s?
I have like 4 setups. I'm a crazy person. I have the S. My main setup is the S11 and 2 Rain 12s. That's what I have in a Toad booth, so I can push it as the TV on the front. I can push that in and out. I have the SRT for just light loads where I just need to like walk upstairs, and then I have like a podium thing for the Rev 7, so I could. It looks a little bit nicer. It looks a little bit clean. So. But there are times when I use all 3 of them at weddings too. So I do need. We'll do multiple setups, or if I travel or whatnot. So it's a process for sure.
Yeah, I still got like 2 sets of 1200s at the house, but I never really take them out unless I feel like it. If it's a gig that I know I'm not gonna have like a lot of stairs to go into, or it's gonna be easy in and out, then I might bring my own 12s. Instead of just leave the Rev 7 at home for the day. But for the most part, they don't really leave the house like they used to.
Yeah, that's the same with me.
But
I brought the turntables out for a gear. Well, the club I play at has gear, and the bar I play at, controller stays there. We just use it there. But I have a controller that I take with me. And I did a gig the other day for it was like a day thing for a local store, and I was like, the controller's cool, but it's like supposed to be cool. That's kind of why they're having me here. So I brought out the turntables and the mixer. Events like that where it's like you want to be more of like a DJ than just like this guy playing with a computer and like that's when I take the turntables out.
Yeah, there are moments. I kept my turntables and I kept an S9 so that I could. So there's my 4th setup. But see, we were talking about gear. I'm a fucking gear snob, man. I just want gear. I didn't even know. I hit up AGI before the Rev 1 even dropped, and I said, I know something Pioneer's dropping. Just put me top of the list because. And he's like, you don't even do this. And I'm like, I don't really care. I know I'm gonna want it. So I just bought it without sight unseen. And so
that's how I was with Rev 7. I didn't even care. I just knew it was going to be with that piece I wanted,
Yep.
I just pulled the trigger on it first day. They announced, it's going on pre-sale this day. Boom. I was already buying it.
Something I didn't ask you in the production, and it's, just curious. You have 2 monitors back there, and I'm trying to get my 2 monitors going. Do you have a desktop setup? Are you using a laptop? How are you connecting all that?
Yeah, I got a desktop. I use
Windows, Mac.
I'm a Windows guy.
Yeah. Okay. Even with DJing.
Yep.
Okay. Nice. What computer are you using? I had a buddy that is all Windows, and he was actually having issues with it. I was wondering if it was his Windows machine, because that's instantly, as a Mac guy, I was instantly like, yeah, just get a Mac, dude. What are you doing? But I'll say operator error on his part. Like, what are you using? Like, what Windows wise?
So for the laptop, I use which is like my workhorse for DJing, and I do some production on this, but only if I'm on the road. Is an MSI. I had custom made, so I had it like the specs I wanted it at the time. I had it built the way I wanted it, and then in the studio, same thing. I just built my own computer desktop, picked out the hard drives, all the internals, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much when, of course, like when you do that, you can kind of grow with it too. So like, oh, I want to upgrade my hard drive. You upgrade your hard drive. You know what I'm saying? You buy something that you can't, if you can't afford it at first, then you buy what you can afford and then upgrade it, you know, down the line, get a better hard drive. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of how I built that laptop. I mean, that desktop. Like I built it so that, you know, at the time I bought it, I built it and I had like 32 gigs of RAM in it. And then a year later or so, I put another 32 gigs of RAM in. So now it's got 64. And I can go up to 128 if I want on that, which is probably nothing now. But at the time when I bought it, 128 was a lot. You know what I mean? I think 64 is a lot. The thing is a workhorse. I mean, for what I do, I think it's more than enough. So,
Totally.
but that's basically, you know, I just built it that way. I use Windows 10 on both laptop and on the desktop. So yeah, and I got the, like I said, I have the an MSI video graphics card in that, and it's got the dual, you know, so I plug in both monitors that way.
You DJ video as well?
I do video, yeah, I do some video gigs too here in Boston. They still have a few clubs that have the hookups for it. So yeah, I've done some video gigs out here too with that.
Okay, dope. I
got
not as much as you do. I know you do that a lot,
video.
Right? Most of your gigs, I know you do most of your gigs are video. I don't do them as often, but when I do, it's here in Boston. We got a couple of spots that I still do videos at.
That's what program are you? Is just Serato Video?
I just use a Serato Video. I wish Mix Emergency would do something about that, but
I know.
It makes no sense.
They're stalling Mac only, but they're
and Serato is stalling too. Like, why haven't they upgraded their video for Serato?
I think
we're still using the same. Like, come on, we're still using the same video from scratch live.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Now we can rant about something.
There's your rant. Serato Video, step up your shit.
Right?
They are stepping up, but I did know that you did video. Jason B was telling me about your video stuff, so that's cool, man. It's fun. It's something different, right? I mean, Fuse just got into it, and he's into it. It's fun.
I've been making. What got me going with the video was I started making a lot of video edits of my audio edits. So that kind of like got me going into the video world a little bit more, you know, because I was making my own video edits for guys, because guys were asking me for them. Like, hey, do you have a video edit of that? What can I get a video? Because I had other people making video edits for me at the time. I forget. So was it Smash Vision?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Smash Vids. Yep. And they still I think they're still making edits, right?
Yeah, because they're part of DMS. I mean, it's it's not part. It's an offshoot. It's
like a partnership. Yeah.
And then like some editors from like Crooklyn Clan or some of these other sites and stuff would just take the edits and make video edits of them anyway. And then they would send them to me, be like, hey, I made a video edit of this or video edit of that. So I'm like, wow, there's a demand for this stuff. So I might as well just make my own video edits, you know?
Right.
I'm not the biggest video editing guy, but simple stuff. You know, I just keep it enough to make an intro, outro version or just some kind of video edit towards whatever, just to have something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, so that's what kind of got me into it, you know? And I'm like, well, I got all these videos. I might as well go DJ with them. Right?
Totally. Well, one of these days, me and Fuse are going to have to come out and party with you in Boston.
Yeah, man. You got a good time. Yeah, let me know when you're out here.
Yeah.
Totally.
I thought you were in San Diego for some reason. I don't know why I was thinking you were in San Diego.
Well, because I go and I play in San Diego a lot, and Fuse is going to come out there with me. It's an hour and a half away from here. I'm in Long Beach, California. So I do play out there because I do so many private events. That's one of the clubs that in San Diego I do play at a lot just because I like it. It's a fun club outside of LA. It's kind of like you.
Yeah, that's what when I went on a cruise for Disney on the Mexican Riviera was through Long Beach. That's where they had the port.
Yep.
So I flew into LAX, and then we took a shuttle to Long Beach, to the port there, and that's where I caught the ship from. So there must be
that's
a
right.
big. It was a big big like cargo area, like, right, where they have a lot of ships coming in with cargo and stuff like that too, like a big port.
We have the biggest port on the West Coast, so it's Long Beach.
It was huge. I remember that.
Yeah, Long Beach and LA are actually right next to each other, so it's two different ports in theory, but it's really the biggest port on the West Coast.
Yeah, I remember the drive in. I was like, damn, this port is huge.
Yeah,
Drew's he does a lot
not as
more
big as
clubs.
Hong Kong's though.
I'm sure that one's insane.
That port
over
was
there.
insane, dude.
I'm sure. Yeah. Drew's being modest though. He does a lot of bar and club stuff still. Not as much as he used to. But I mean, you're picking up that Wednesday night now.
It's not video, but when I was doing the video, I used to run a bunch of video spots, and so that was kind of what it was. Is we were booking 10 different bars of all video DJs, and so I was sending guys out, and we were making edits and doing all that stuff. But dude, I just can't deal with it no more. I just want to do my own shit.
Is there still a demand in your market for video DJs though? Like, there are a lot of bars that still, right?
No, I mean,
feel like that's become like that out here as well. Like, it's like even the bars that were doing it don't even care about it anymore like they used to. It used to be it's like, so we need to have a video DJ and have to have videos, and now it's like I walk in and they have freaking sports games on and they don't even care. It's like,
yeah, well, that's the part that kills me. And bars though, like the technology is so much simpler and cheaper to do video DJing now too, and less people are doing it. And then you go into these bars where they have a DJ and fucking sports centers on every single goddamn TV that they have, past midnight. And it's like, well, there could be videos on or a logo or something like other than sports center playing.
Than highlights, exactly.
Yeah. I think the problem that I'm at least hearing from the guys that took over my spots is there aren't video DJs, right? He actually can't fill the spots. So what happens is if they don't have a booking agent for that venue that's able to, train new guys or just constantly bring in new people, they struggle with just housing it. So they'd rather have a good DJ, because it's always, even with video DJing, audio first, right? So you'd rather have a good DJ than a video DJ, a shitty video DJ. So
right.
Anybody that's listening, if you want to, I've always said this, like you want to get booked solid video DJing. It's just you could totally fill in your schedule.
It's so stand out from the crowd. All you have to do is go download, 100 or 200 songs, go through your top list of songs, go download those videos, and then just make yourself a couple logo videos to play with songs that you don't have videos, and boom, you're a video DJ.
Yeah.
It's it. So, yeah, but I think we've hit a lot of topics today, and it's been great kind of talking with you, getting to know you, and we appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today. Do you want to just hit them with your social media and where they can find you and follow you?
Yeah, man, you can follow me at Instagram, at DJ PeteDown on Instagram, at PeteDown on Facebook, and PeteDown.com, my website. Basically the only ones I really use. So
awesome. You sent over your press kit and you had Twitch on there. Are you still doing Twitch at all?
I messed with it at first during the COVID thing, but I haven't really used it now. I can't say I'm a streaming type of guy now.
Yeah, it was tough.
I was into it though. I liked it. I enjoyed it at first. I'll tell you that. Like, it was definitely like, I don't know, get your mind off of things for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to mess around, learn all the whole thing about the OBS and how to use that, and creating video graphics for that, and setting up layouts and learning to create layouts. And it was just, I don't know. I guess it was a cool thing to get into for a little while, but not really something I'd stuck.
So any DJ that's curious about outboarding gear, they should DM you.
Yeah, man. Sure, absolutely. I'll help them out as much as I can.
Yeah. If you got money and you want to buy a really expensive outboarding sound card and gear, hit up PeteDown. He'll link you up with all the info. Bro, you're absolutely incredible for being on, dude. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys
feel
having
like
me, man.
I feel like I know you 10 times better than I did, and I'm
But you got
excited
the
about
exclusive.
that. So, yeah,
That's
I
right.
love that.
Totally.
And tell
Well,
Joe I need a shirt. I get some
Yeah, well, I messaged Warren already, and you should message him too as a fellow PC guy. You guys can have
Yeah.
like PC conversation together. 'Cause
Right?
Warren's a big PC guy, so me and Drew always make fun of Warren and his giant tablet phone that's like this big. he's holding an iPad to his head. Hold on, this is
When I first met Warren, I was like, I walked over and he was like, "Hey man, what's up? Let me hit you with your phone." And it was like this. It was, it was like an iPad Mini, and I was dead. I was like, "Bro, what is that thing?" And
The new
then
Samsung.
and you know what? It was like the iPhone 4 era, and then slowly like the new iPhones came out, and I called him. I tell him this all the time. I called him and I said, "Hey, bro, I apologize. The bigger phones are better." And you know, I totally admit when I was wrong, but come on, it was still like, "Yo, what's up, dude?" Yeah, this massive, massive tablet phone. But no, Warren is a tech genius and he knows his shit, bro. That's a fact. He definitely knows his shit. He likes to, fuck around with new gear. So we just like teasing him.
Yeah, definitely. But I did message him and I was like, "Yo, you guys send Pete some gear," and he said, "Yes, of course." So just circle around with him, and I'm sure he'll send you some stuff. Warren, we all love Warren, but Warren's got like 87,000 projects going on at one time. So
all at one time.
Yeah.
So no, we'll get you some gear, and we got to come hang out, dude. We got to definitely. I think we're trying to do something in Vegas here shortly. Well, not shortly, but February.
That'd be cool.
The next big,
we'll get the crew
thing.
together. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, totally. Dude. So anyway, thanks for being on the show today, and thanks for taking the time to be with us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, boys.
Yeah,
appreciate you having me.
Man.
Cheers. Right. And until next time, see you guys.
Peace.
Later.